In 3, 2, 1. It's my favorite part. Welcome to Real Hospitality Live. Today, I am so excited to have Max Kotin from Berlin, Global Communications Director for Dodo Pizza. I'm a huge fan of your company. I've never even tried the food. Just watching you guys grow and expand and learn about your company. I mean, I even have the opportunity to read your monthly reports to see what's happening, what's going on. I'm such a curious guy. I'm always learning from you. Max, how the heck are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Jason. It's a pleasure and it's an honor to be here today. And yeah, crazy times, but we are weathering quite well considering the situation because we have delivery. And many peers don't have it, and so my heart goes out for them. But we have delivery, so we are kind of okay. Still tough times, but interesting as well.
Well, you guys mastered the concept basically from delivery, right? I mean, Fyodor started in 2011 in a basement doing delivery.
Yeah. Delivery, it was delivery only, but it was like in a year, it was dine-in and delivery. And so we've been growing as a mixed format because we saw that it's more flexible, more interesting. So if you compare us to like Papa John's or Domino's, they usually more of a delivery companies, delivery brands. Sometimes they take simple takeaway and that's it. But in our case, we have very well developed dining areas that are cozy. It's nice to spend time there. So it looks more like a city cafe than just a takeaway area. And so we have, but in terms of sales, like 60% usually. It varies from town to town, from unit to unit. But if overall, it's like 60%. Is delivery, 40% dine-in takeaway. So that's about it. So 60% delivery, it's something that we can rely on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a huge foundation for delivery. That's I know typically in the pizza industry, in my experience, it's usually about 20% to 30%, but 60% is huge. You guys you're in what now? 12 countries.
13.
13. There you go. Congratulations. 13 countries. Let me just go through the numbers here so we can impress people. Dodo Pizza is the #1 pizza chain in Russia, twice as big as Papa John's and Domino's, one of the fastest growing QSR startups on the planet. Went from 0 to 500 stores in 8 years, now in 13 countries, US, UK, China, and you guys plan on doing 135 new shops by the end of 2021. That's ambitious, impressive, and really cool.
One correction: we have over 600 pizza shops already. So just you're probably reading from something that was updated last half a year ago. Since then, we've grown significantly. So
I took that off of your LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, sorry. We are growing so fast that I can't keep up with all the numbers and update all the numbers everywhere. So that's.
So, I mean, I get the other countries. I get that there's similar cultures in opening stores in other countries, and then China. It blows my mind that you guys are just going bang, bang, bang in China. What you must have had to rethink the whole thing.
Yeah, it's an adventure for us because at some point it was just a happenstance how we started there because we were approached by a fan of ours and an entrepreneur, Russian-born but living in China. He wanted to open a pizza store there, so we started working with him. And it wasn't a resounding success from the beginning because, but we learned a lot with our first unit. So at some point we saw the potential in this market, and it's hard to crack because there are like lots of Western brands who lost lots of money in China doing things wrongly or trying to push their brands or their ways of doing things.
Right.
And lots of companies have to adapt. And Starbucks was losing money for years and years before it reached some traction in China, for example, right? So we know all the stories, and but at the same time, the market is huge. It's very interesting. And right now is our ambition is to adapt the typical pizza store format model to China, and we completely rebuilt it. It's unlike anything we do in any other country. So it's just we have the team, and we have some expertise in this in the pizza industry. At least we like to think that, and so we are using it to do something that will be like best suited for market in China. And there are, if you want, I can go into details like how it's different, but yeah, because first of all, the product itself, pizza is not the best product for the people living in China, because for them it's like too thick, too greasy. They don't appreciate cheese as a product itself. So, and yeah, you can't imagine like a pizza without cheese. It's like, I don't know, it's a piece of bread, right? And so, and you have to like reimagine the entire rethink the entire product for them to make it appealing. So it basically Papa John's. If you look at Papa John's in China, it's basically full scale restaurants, and pizza in many cases isn't like the most popular meal on the menu in China, and so it's not the number one priority when it comes to like dining options for people. And on the other hand, the delivery market is totally dominated by aggregators. It's like you can see there the future where all the other countries we are going there, but like in the West, in Europe, in the US, we are going there, but we are not there yet.
Right.
And in China, it's a red ocean. It's the red ocean, right? And because there are so many options for delivery, and in these aggregators, it's very hard to compete. So what we did there, first we completely rethought our product, and it's not unlike any other pizza we do in other countries. And on one hand, on the other hand, we rethought our business model. So we aim for foot traffic, highly visible locations, the solo diner, so more like a pizza by the slice thing, and and we use this to get new customers, to get some brand recognition, and then we grow delivery through our offline dining stores, highly visible stores, because otherwise it's very hard to compete just online for customers, because there are so many options. You are basically can stand out in aggregators, because it's nearly impossible. And especially hard when pizza is not like the number one product, right? It's not what in the West. If you think about ordering something for delivery, automatically you think about pizza as your number one product, because it's a traditional already. Like thanks Papa John's, thanks Domino's. They've been doing a great job, like teaching people to order pizza for delivery. That's the situation in the West, but in the East, in China, it's nothing like that. People order all the crazy stuff for delivery, and pizza is like number 20 on their list when it comes to mind for delivery. So if you want to like just to take the Western delivery model and just apply to the market in China, it won't work.
Right.
That's our vision. So that's what we are doing right now. We are opening new. We opened the second location, the second unit in this new format. It's totally cashless, by the way, right in the middle of the crisis. And yeah, it was like tough, but still we did it. And now the restrictions are a bit like being lifted a little bit, and so we hope that we will continue working on improving our business model there in China. But we are not yet there, so we can say that like, okay, we are killing it. We have like a well-performing store, but we've learned so much, and we are, at least the team is pretty confident that we will be there. Like this year, we will have a solid business model to scale.
Right. But you guys have the lights back on in the store now, and it's open.
Yeah, it's open.
Right.
And our team from Moscow, we caught the last flight from Moscow to China, because after that it was like all the flights were landed, and grounded, right? And after they landed in China, they had to go into a quarantine for 14 days.
Right.
It's just like kind of a prison, because it's basically it looks like a hotel. And everyone had their own room, and they couldn't leave it. Right. Everything was delivered to the door, and that's for 14 days they couldn't leave it. So, but now it's over. Everyone is healthy, and luckily, and so everything is good. So last week they got back to work, and to work on this project.
From all of this, I mean, I know that you've done a COVID-19 survival guide for QSRs, and you had some other people work with you on that. But what have you learned, and what's your advice? I mean, with that many fingers and that many stores, you guys are getting all of this data that you can share and you can use, and as an industry globally, we can learn from. So this is a great opportunity for us to be able to share what you've learned as well. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So we see that the situation is quite different in different markets. For example, in the UK, our stores are growing their sales at an amazing pace. Even if they don't have dine-in at all, because it's like on lockdown by the government, but they have delivery and takeaway. But they're selling now more in delivery than before the crisis in delivery and dine-in. So but it's basically, I think that maybe in Great Britain, people are very used to delivery as a channel of sales, and they just resorted to it as soon as they didn't have any other options.
Right.
We see that in Eastern Europe, like in the Baltic states, for example, sales are like flat. Not better, not worse, and than before the crisis.
Okay.
In Russia, the situation is different. Dining is also on lockdown, and delivery is growing, but not enough to make up for the drop in dining for us. So, and there are also very different situations when it comes to government support, because it's an essential thing, right? That impacts what you do as a restaurateur, for example, if you operate as small chain operator or individual operator, because in the UK, government supports all your staff, all your team members, and if you shut down, they receive like 80% of their salary.
Yeah.
And so it's an easy decision for the operators there, because, for example, if you weren't strong in delivery before the crisis, like it was, maybe you wasn't working at all with delivery aggregators, or you were working there, but it was like only 10-15% of your sales. I doubt that it would make sense for you to stay open and do delivery, because it was 15%, it will be like 25%, still it won't be enough to support you. And still, if you have this option to just shut down and just wait and have the government pay your team members and be sure that, and you can be sure that they are safe, they are okay, financially safe, so yeah, that's an easy decision, right? But if you don't have this support from the government, it's the case in other countries, or it can be like a different kind of support. So it can be so you can be forced to do something differently. And in Russia, what we did was that we don't enjoy that breadth of support as our peers in the UK, in Russia, from the government. So what we did, we closed some of our units and redistributed their delivery zones to closest units, because roads are empty right now, and you can cover a wider area from the same unit. Because before the crisis, our strategy was like to limit the delivery zones, make it limited as much as possible, because the more limited it is, the faster you deliver. And since we all experienced this competition from the aggregators, and they have this standard like deliver in 20 minutes, in 30 minutes, in 15 minutes. It's very tough for us, because we don't work with delivery aggregators. We do all the deliveries by ourselves, and so it's very tough to compete with that. So we were like narrowing it down. We were like limiting our delivery zones. But right now, we have to adapt, and since the roads are empty, we are like also we see that customers are willing to wait longer, because they understand that it's an unusual situation, and so speed is not that important when you just sit at home, right? And you have nothing to do, or you're just working from your home office. So it doesn't matter if it's 30 minutes and 45 minutes. So that's what we did. That's one thing. Another thing, we started to work on new items, as many chains and even individual operators do. Right now, we introduced, for example, hot drinks. We are now delivering like in coffee, but it's a different story, right? But we are now delivering hot drinks. Like coffee, cappuccino, latte, and Americano, stuff like that. And because it helps us, it motivates people to order more often, and it's very important, right? And so we also introduced some new food and non-food items. We even sell sanitizers right now. So basically, you can order a pizza and then add a few bottles of sanitizer. And we sell it like for the same price we buy it. So we don't make any profit on it. And it's just as a service to the public, right? And so we are trying to adapt, and even some of our partners, with our help, they're experimenting and introducing like some very unconventional things like toilet paper, or selling like pasta or other food ingredients that are already now supply chain, that we can like easily sell. So that's what we are.
Did people go crazy in Germany and buy up all the toilet paper too?
In Germany, as strange as it sounds, and I don't know what people are doing with it. It's a mystery to me, because but still, in my opinion, it's not the most essential product out there you can buy, but still they're doing it. And I have to say that even in Germany, there is some disruption when it comes to supply chain and so there are empty shelves from time to time, but not still, but not that they are not that significant. So basically, we live our normal lives here in Germany. And but in Russia, it's a different story because, in my opinion, Russia is like in the beginning of all this, because it was late to pick up this virus later than others, and so now cases are every day there are more and more cases, so they are on this side of the curve, right? Maybe Germany is already like somewhere here. We heard yesterday Merkel said that we are thinking about losing up some restrictions, and maybe even in May kids will go to school. And right now my kid is here at home and he's like climbing walls already.
I have 4 at home.
Oh,
and they're
I get it.
Crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I am going crazy with just one.
Right.
So I can imagine what you are feeling.
It's a challenge because you're not just working from home, you're working at home. So you have everything else going on, and everybody who needs something or wants something to do or whatever during those times when you're normally trying to be productive, they would all be at school. So
yeah. Same here. Yeah.
So with the survival guide that you posted, what are some things that you were seeing that other people were doing?
What other people are doing and what we aren't doing is that, for example, many people turn their meals into meal kits. Right? It's basically the idea here is that, first of all, many customers would find it more safe.
Yeah.
Because since they especially if it's something that you have to cook, and if you cook, even if it was like exposed to the virus, after you cook it, the virus dies, right? So many customers would think that it's safer on that. And another thing is that I see that the logic here is that, for example, you order a pizza for Friday, and because you are like sick of cooking for yourself, and you still want to treat yourself, and then you add to your order something that will tide you over the weekend. For example, it's a meal kit of something similar, maybe a pasta or something, like everything that you already need. And then you some basic like products, maybe something else that you will like cook on Sunday, right? And all this is in one delivery, so you don't have to pay extra for it because it's already one delivery. And this I talked to and different restaurateurs in different situations, and they say that it works for them, and they see the demand for such a product.
That's a good upsell to be able to. You're getting two sales, one delivery. You're covering two different days. Be able to have a loss leader, like having sanitizer available, even if it's at cost, is again, where can you get it? Because a lot of places you can't get it, and even Amazon here is backed up by 3 weeks to a month. Anything you want to order, so it's very difficult to get stuff.
Yeah, and I see that. By the way, our unit in the US is doing it. They added some basic like usual retail products. Usually it doesn't work under usual circumstances. It doesn't work because basically retail margin is not for us, because it's not what we need to make it profitable, right? But right now, as a supplementary product, it works because many operators, they have their supply chain in place, and it works. It wasn't affected, and if it wasn't affected, it's a good deal, because you can just even put a higher price on the same retail product, but since people don't want to go to Walmart and risk their like safety,
Right.
and they are not spending money on anything else because
Right.
they are not going to
They're home.
movies. They're home. They're not going to movies. They are not going to restaurants. They're not going anywhere. So they have some money. So and you can't order anything on Amazon because it's like, well, okay, yeah, you can order and wait for 3 weeks or 3 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's a kind of a win-win situation, and I see that it works pretty well for many operators.
So in different markets, and I want to just talk China real quick one more time. I've been saying this for the last several weeks that kind of we in North America are also going to have to wait about 4 months for things to come around, to come back to being able to turn the lights back on. How long were you guys seeing things shut down in different markets and then starting to come back online again? Because I know that in your China store, you guys were closed for a while, and then you opened it up. But I saw 4 months as kind of a guideline there. And when we're talking in North America, for example, people are saying, oh, well, you know, by May and whatever. But I in my observation, it took China 4 months to come back to life. So what are you seeing?
Yeah, so if you ask different people in our company, we'll have different answers. Yeah, and so and I agree with you. I see lots of predictions from like consultants from different consulting companies, analysts that, for example, in Russia it can last till August, for example. And but I'm more, how to say it, conservative in this case personally, that I think that we have to brace ourselves for much longer periods of some kind of restrictions, because until there is a cure or there is a vaccine for the virus, we can't be safe, and so it can go up and down and go up again, as if all the restrictions are like lifted altogether, right? So we'll probably see that for a year and maybe a year and a half,
right.
And in my opinion, it will be like the best case scenario, because there are still open questions. I'm not a health professional or a doctor,
Sure.
but what I'm reading online is that basically nobody knows if there will be any immune response after people get exposed to the virus and survive successfully, and how long it will last. For example, is it like a chicken pox, or is it like something that you have one you antibodies, you build your immune system and it's for life, right? Or it's like more like a flu, and it will be changing so fast that every year it will be like something new, and still if you had this a year before, you will have it like again in a year. So it's an open question. There is no definitive answer yet to that. So I guess that and also still with all the restrictions, only a small percentage of the population, even in Germany, for example, where there are lots of cases, 130,000 people were tested positive for the virus, and still it's like a very small percentage of the population, and for the collective immune system to be built up, right, it should be like 50%, 60%. I'm not an expert in this, right? But so I would say that we have to prepare ourselves that all these things in some form, or obviously not in the strictest form, because like the world won't survive this. Like full lockdown, nobody goes out, and we can weather it for a month, maybe, right? Maybe for 2, but at some point these restrictions will have to be like lifted, but not entirely. And so there will be a very, very long period of recession and some restrictions. And Germany announced yesterday that, or even today probably, that all the big gatherings will be banned till the end of summer.
Right.
Yeah, and that's done already. So and for our industry, it's a huge impact for our industry. So we have to think about safety in our restaurants. Probably there will be less space, less seats per square meter, social distancing thing going on. And so I think that the entire P&Ls will be rethought, reimagined, and everything will be we have to think about it long term. It's not okay, it will be 2 months and everything will get back to normal. No, it won't.
No.
So they will be takeaways. They will be lots of different things will be changed, and we have to plan it as it's long term. It's not going away easily.
How is this affecting your company growth? Your goal to have 135 new stores before the end of 2021 was obviously before this all happened. Are you guys in full stoppage, or are you still looking at new markets? What's going on with that?
First of all, we don't have we are not a public company. Right. So we don't have any obligations to have a goal and to meet this goal. And when we don't meet this goal, our stock plummets, and so we don't play this. We don't have to play this. Right. So we just keep a number for ourselves to because we have committed stores, we have new openings, we have committed stores, because most of our franchisees, they have some pipeline, some commitments, how many stores they are committed to already to open. And we see this number, we know it, and we use the famous OKR system to track our progress for the company and for different times. So it's not we have to meet any number. We still are very much inclined to grow, and as far as I know, so we have in our pipeline we have a lot of new markets like Poland. Germany this year, that was our plan for this year. Finland, Hungary, Bulgaria after that, and all of these projects will probably be delayed. But as soon as the situation improves, we will get back on track, and we will be opening and going forward with everything. For example, we thought that we would launch in Germany, in Munich, in September.
Right.
Right now, we are still working on this project, but we assume that it will be launched probably in December.
Okay.
Yeah, and also, for example, we are launching our first company-owned unit in the UK, in Leamington Spa. And we've already found the location, we have the design, everything. We haven't signed the deal yet with the landlord, but we are in the negotiation process. And so we intend to go forward with this, but we are not pushing it right now, and nobody, right? So everything we intend to grow, but just we will have to adapt to the situation.
Of course. Well, it's cool listening to you talk about the different regions, because we get so kind of Western centric being over here on our North American island.
Yeah. It's a world in itself. Yeah.
That's what we like to think, but it's such a global thing that's going on. But even our industry is global. So it's great to get different perspectives to see what's happening in different markets and how you're working with them, and even having to make adjustments to go into new markets. Like we said, in China, it's great watching you guys and what you're doing. And in my many years of experience in the industry, I have every time I see you guys do something, I go, that's a good idea, or I thought of that a long time ago and never did it. Now I see it's working. So I think we as an industry appreciate your transparency as a company, just to even see how you grow, and so that we can learn from you. So that's my big fanboy thing about what you guys are doing.
Happy to serve.
I love it. And even
thanks a lot.
And I'm not going to take up any more of your time today. I know we were on a time restriction. I think we had a question, do we?
There's 2 questions.
There's 2 questions, Max.
Canada wants Dodo.
Canada wants Dodo.
Oh, yeah.
We want to know when you're coming. Clearly not this month.
Not this month, not the next month. Actually, we had, a few years ago, we had some plans for the US first. And we still have our store in Oxford, Mississippi, which is like maybe a strange place to start a business in the US. But on the other hand, it's the headquarters of PMQ Pizza Magazine, as you probably know, and and that's where our friend Steve Green lives, and the publisher. And but since then, we rethought our plans for the US, because we underestimated how basically difficult it is to manage everything across the pond, right? And so for us, for now, we see that since we see 2 like quite similar markets, the UK and US. They are very competitive, very well developed in terms of like the pizza market. And in the UK and in the US, people equally love pizza and order a lot for delivery. And but since the UK is much closer to us, it's for us, we decided to focus on the UK for now. And the US, it will be like our test shop. We see the trends from this shop, and we intend to sustain it. But for now, we have to focus on 2 key markets for us, which is in the West, it's the UK, and in the East, it's China.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately, Canada will be like sometime. You'll have to wait, guys, a little bit. So our ambition to be everywhere, all over the world, like Papa John's or Domino's, right? But it will take some time. We are very long-term thinking guys. So we want to be aware. We want to build a truly global Russian-born company, but we realize that it will take time, patience. It will entail a lot of work. And so, as much as we want to come to Canada, actually we get lots of requests for a franchise for Canada. Still, we can't do it. It's it has to wait for a while.
I think as your market grows around the world, there will even be more of a demand and more of an excitement for when it does happen. So Canadians are notorious travelers, and we get to see things all over the world. Then we come back and go, oh, now we want it here. So by the time it comes, everybody will know what it is if they don't know yet. But what was the other question, Robbie?
In the US, people want it in the US.
Oh, in the US, of course. Was that the second question?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like all over our platforms, it's like, Canada, are you coming to Canada? Are you coming to Canada? So.
There we go. So lots of excitement for North America. So once the world returns back to what normal will be, and you guys have already dominated the rest of the planet, we'll expect you here.
Okay, we'll do our best.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, Max. Wonderful to talk to you. Wonderful to learn from you and to get your expertise from what your markets are doing, and hearing about the growth of your business and the smart things you guys are doing. And again, I love that you're always passing on what you've learned to the industry. And that's really, in my opinion, in a spirit of what we do, is what we love, is when we learn something that works, let people know. When we learn something that doesn't work, let people know.
Some things doesn't work.
Right, exactly. Sometimes it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, and sorry, one more question popped up. Go ahead, Rob.
How'd they come up with the name Dodo?
Oh, where did the name Dodo come from?
Okay, this is easy. First of all, it's a character in one of one of the books that the founder likes, and Alice in Wonderland, right? It's the Dodo character is there, and if you read something, if you Google it on the web, you will see that basically they say it's the author. So basically, it was the nickname of the author among his friends, Dodo. And also it's just a bird, and which is now extinct, as you probably know. And it became extinct because it was friendly, because there was no predators on the island, and it was very friendly and didn't afraid anybody, including the hunters and people who wanted to eat it. And once they arrived, and so we like to think about the Dodo bird as about our brand as it's very friendly. We are as friendly as this bird. And also from the business point of view, from the marketing point of view, when Fyodor, the founder, was thinking about how to name the company, he wanted the name to be unique, so it will be easily scalable all over the world, and it will be hard to find something similar. So everything that's Italian or I don't know, Primavera or anything like that, right? So it had to have no connections with traditional pizza names. And also it's a very rare word that can easily be translated. It doesn't need to be translated in lots of languages, in many languages, because Dodo in Russia, Dodo in English, and in many other languages, it's just Dodo. Right. And so you don't have to translate it, and it's easy to understand, and it's rare. It's very hard to find such a word. So that was the logic. And that's about it.
The smart move to make it uncomplicated.
Yeah. And also, me personally, I think that it doesn't matter what the name is, because what you do as a brand, what type of product you serve, and how good is your service, that's what's important.
Exactly. And that's what people remember the most.
Yeah. You can have a brilliant name and a shitty company, or you have an okay brand and
lots of those.
And a great, something like that.
Thanks again.
Thanks for having me. It was a real pleasure and an honor to be on this show.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can do it again when the lights all come back on and we're all back to what we consider to be normal.
Yeah. Do a follow-up. Let's do a follow-up.
Absolutely, we'll do that. Take care, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. For those of you watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Periscope, Facebook, around the world, subscribe, post questions, ask questions. Max is on LinkedIn almost as much as I am, I think. And it's a great opportunity to learn about a growing business, and a business is connected everywhere on the planet right now. This is a great chance to learn what people have done with their business. They've made mistakes so that you don't have to, and you can learn from their successes. Thank you so much to my guest, Max Kotin. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.